Today I'm going to inspect the Rope Runner Pro. Even though it's a mechanical hitch, it's really important that you inspect it. I'll inspect it in a way that would be adequate for if you were going to take the tree climber exam, something that the evaluators would want to see as you're inspecting it. It's really important because to inspect it every time you're going to climb, even though it's metal and usually they don't break down, you can have things that can go wrong. Maybe something malfunctions, or you could get sharp edges. Maybe you might see a crack. Somehow you got a crack in it. You just want to make sure that it's okay for you to use. What I'll do is I'll start at the top here. Now I'm going to collapse it and hold it in my hand here. And I'll look. I'm going to start at the bird. I want to make sure that the top is considered the bird. It's in good condition. There's no sharp edges. I want to, with the bird, you want to make sure that the spring inside works properly. To do that, what you want to do is depress the bird and let it go. You want to make sure that it raises and brings it back up to this position. If the spring wasn't working and it just flops back down and it won't go up, then it's not going to work properly. Next you want to do is you'll get to the slick pin here. And now these slick pin, it's a double locking slick pin. So what you'll do is you'll depress this lever and you're going to push it, and then you'll press the second lever and push it. Now you've released it, and when you're pushing it back, you want to make sure that those levers, once it goes through, it pops back up into place, and it pops back into place. That means that locking mechanism works. You're going to go next to the bullard. So this bullard, you want to make sure that it's all smooth. There's no nicks, it's not excessively worn. And you also want to make sure that it's tight in place. So it's a good idea to have a Allen key with you and to just touch it real quick, make sure that it's not running or loose. You don't have to wrench it down, you just want to make sure that it's not loose. And here's your adjustment. I have my adjustment set where it works for me. We want to make sure that you have it set and it's not wiggling around. I'll go up. Now what you're going to do with this bird, you're going to move it around. You're going to listen, look for anything that's not working properly. These rivets are in good condition. It's not loose. It's in good condition. It's not like wiggly. This is all not broken or cracked. It's in good shape. You'll go back down to this lever here. You want to see and move it. Make sure that it has a good range of motion and it's not all, doesn't sound gritty and loose. There's a little plastic stopper that should be in place. That's meant to stop this lever from going too far, and also so people aren't putting the rope here. It goes in this section here. It'll bring you down to this pin here. It has an Allen key, so you want to make sure that it's snug. You don't have to wrench it down. Just want to check that it's in good shape. It's not loose. Now it brings you back to this slick pin here. This is another locking mechanism. So you want to depress this, do that same test, get it in. Now that it's in, now you're going to push it through. Now both of these levers pop back up. That means that it's locking. This is a where you normally have a ring. It's an attachment point for your chest harness. It's not meant for anything except for a chest harness, not PPE. We have the magneto here, so the way it works is it just pops in and out. It's in good shape. Remember that this is not something that you're going to use as a PPE section. You want to make sure that the stoppers are all in place. Now it brings you to the friction body. That's this section right here. So with the friction body, you want to make sure that it's not excessively worn and there's no cracks, there's no sharp edges, because your rope's going to be running through here. And as long as it doesn't look like it's excessively worn, it's in good condition. That'll bring you next to your pulley. So the pulley also has a slick pin with the double locking levers. You want to check that out. So you'll get the lever, you're going to depress it, push it through, push it in, and make sure that go in. Let me see. There you go. Now that you've gone through, you'll open your gate. Make sure this works properly. Push it back. Now you're going to pop your pin. Push it back. It pops up, and then the next one pops up. So it's locking. It shows that it's locking. You're going to go to your pulley, and you're going to spool it. You want to listen for it, that it's not excessively worn and it's not stuck or jammed up. The rivets, the connecting point is good. It'll bring you now down to this the bottom portion. This is your attachment point for your carabiner. You want to make sure that you inspect where it's connected, and you also want to inspect the body of it. Make sure there's no cracks or anything bent. It has to be in good condition. Now once you get to that portion, on the Rope Runner Pro, this eye is pretty big, so they call for having a captive. There's a number of different captives you can use. The one we have is a plastic captive. They also have a carabiner that has a built-in captive where it's a solid connecting point. I understand that the captives that have a bend, it's a metal that you can bend open, they're not really good for this type of work. It's better to have this type or even the rubber grommet captives. Once I've inspected and I have my captive, it's tight. You know, this is all tight. If you don't, I mean, you ought to have a screwdriver if you have this type to make sure that if it's loose that you can tighten it up. Next you'll want to inspect your carabiner, and you'll do that, the inspection where you open it up full range all the way down, you let it loose, it locks, you show that it locks. Next you go to the 5mm and you're going to let it loose, it locks. Next you go to halfway on the nose and you bring it down, let it loose, oops, right there, it locks. As you're doing it, you want to make sure that you look at the nose, and you want to make sure the nose is not all bent or broken. Also inside, you're going to look that it's all clean and not nicked up. You're making sure that the hinge point is not loose in any way. So you also want to make sure that all of your numbers that are on this, the CE number and the rating numbers, are on your Rope Runner Pro. So you want to make sure they're not all rubbed off, especially if you're going to be doing an inspection for the Certified Tree Worker exam. Now there I go. That's the inspection of a Rope Runner Pro. There you have it, an inspection of a Rope Runner Pro. Now an inspection in this way will really help benefit you if you're planning on taking the tree worker exam, but also if you're someone who uses a Rope Runner Pro more often, it's a good idea to inspect it every time you climb. It sounds tiresome, but it really doesn't take very long, and it is your life that's on the line. You want to make sure that if there's anything that's malfunctioning on this, and it could even be as simple as, say, a loose bollard, you want to make sure that you catch it before you climb. It's the worst thing to be up in the tree like 80 feet, and then all of a sudden you notice that something's loose and you start running. That would be horrible. So anyhow, hopefully this was helpful to you. Comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you like what we do, and by all means, share our videos. Take care. We'll see you next time.